Lake Ontario is massive. It's huge. It's usually full of beautiful waves, and I've got a sunny day. I've already put the polarizer on my camera. I'm hoping to find some rocks and maybe just get like wide angle images of the water coming in over the rocks. Let's go. Okay, so this is the Lee polarizer and adapter ring for the Lee filters, and then I just put the filter holder on it. There you go, pulls on, and I just tighten it up here, lock it, and it's not coming up. So then I have the polarizer on the front, and we're good to go. Let's go find a spot. Come straight onto the beach, and I have these rocks here which look good, except I really want to do the wide angle today. I haven't used my wide angle lens in a while, so I'm actually thinking that I'm going to go up the beach a bit to another set of rocks because I'd like to get up really nice and close. I'm actually really surprised that no one is here. It's beautiful out. Like today is 10 degrees and that is extremely warm for February. Normally everybody comes out and they're just so appreciative to have a little bit of a sunny, warmer day. So I'm going to take advantage of this because it's absolutely beautiful. And now I'm kind of making footprints in the spot where I'm going to take pictures, but that's okay. All right, I have the polarizer on as I already described, and I'm going to set up the tripod and see about getting close up here with these rocks and the lake behind. And then I did pass a piece of driftwood, and I was thinking maybe if I put the driftwood right up against the water and go in close there, that maybe we could get a shot of that too. We'll see. So when you're working with a wide angle lens, I've got a 16-35 on, you're going to play around a lot with what angle you use, because to get the most dynamic sort of image, you're just going to have to see, okay, where does this really work? You want to see if you get up like high, how does it look? If you get down low, how does it look? What is going to be your foreground subject? I've got these like sticks here, but I'm not convinced. And with the way that the water is today, I think I might even put on the ND filter, which will darken, like it'll stop the amount of light coming into, lower the amount of light coming into the camera so that I can take a long exposure. Today is really, really bright. There's no way I could get, 1 second, 2 seconds worth of one picture. It would just blow it right out and it would all be white. So I'm going to put on the ND filter and see which I like better. So I've got the ND filter in there. It's good to, so the Polarizer's on the outside. The ND filter is actually right up against, there's different slots with the Lee filter holder, and the Polarizer is like right up against where the lens is. And that just makes sure that there's less chance of light squeaking in there. So I'm not convinced about this angle. I also have fallen in love with a few images of just rocks, so I may just do those as well. But I'm going to experiment with a couple different angles. The other thing is with an ND filter, depending on what angle you are to the sun, it's going to look different. You would set it all up and it looks really good there. And then you were to turn around and shoot from another angle, it will not be the same. You have to reset it. Okay, I've set my tripod up into a different location, and I noticed that as I put my tripod out, I have to be careful to kind of push the tripod into the sand a little bit, because it is actually not as stable as you first think it might be. And then if you're doing a long exposure, you want to make sure that even though it seems like it shouldn't make a difference, don't walk around while the exposure is happening. You could shift some of the sand, some of the ground, and the camera might move slightly, and then your image is out of focus. So I've got ISO 50, f8, and 15 seconds. And I'm making sure to focus actually on the foreground, because that's the part of the image that I want to stand out the most, and it's part of the image that you're going to see when you first look at it. And if it's out of focus, that's not going to be very satisfying, I think. And then, as I generally like to do, I will kind of bracket my exposure. Not that it's really bracketed, but I'm going to put it to ISO 100, f13, and it's 20 seconds. It's not a bracketed exposure. I'm just trying out a couple of different settings, because you never know. When I get home and I think, oh, I should have just moved that a little bit, then it's too late. Sometimes it's also hard to know when to move on to the next shot, because, you know, maybe I missed something, or, hold on, maybe I didn't quite take it right, but that's okay. You know what? It's also good to take a variety of shots. So I'm going to move over again. So I just want to show you what it looks like when you spin the ND filter. I'm looking at this rock here, and as I look through, when I spin it, you can see how it changes the reflection on the water. You can see more underneath, you can see less underneath. It's really a neat filter, and it's really fun to use. I might now play around with that piece of driftwood I talked about. It's bigger and heavier than I thought it would be. I'm going to try getting down low and see how it looks. there's some beautiful rocks around it, and they're wet from the water, and so they're just kind of glistening in the sun. We'll see if I can capture those too. I'm not sure. I've had to move it around a lot because it keeps moving in the sand. Also, I have it on minus 0.5 exposure value, and that is because given the tones of the scene, one of the brightest parts is actually the part on the log that is closest to the image. That's my foreground. And when the camera does its auto exposure and all that stuff and reading of the thing, I don't want it to blow out some of the details on the log. Because I have such a wide angle lens on, that was the other thing I wanted to tell you. When you're taking an image like this, you can see the sides of the lens and the filters around it on the edges, in the corners. So I did actually pull back a little bit more from my subject so that I can crop those out after in Photoshop or wherever, because it's visible. So you just kind of keep an eye out for that. I wanted to tell you I did actually start my music channel. It's Rachel Lerch Music. I have a very wide taste in music, so there's going to be all sorts of different kinds of songs, and I've composed probably like 15 to 20, but I only have 4 so far up, but they'll be coming. Anyway, Rachel Lerch Music, and yeah, I'd love it if you want to join me on some more photography adventures. Subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, thanks. Bye guys.